Hello, welcome to episode 3 of the Shougai.podcast. A radio show on 22S Radio. I am Jason Green, an aspiring education reporter or public information officer for a school district. And my co-host,
Shadic Anderson, veteran of the United States Marine Corps, currently studying journalism, and I plan to become an attorney, so I do plan to go to law school after this. So, glad to be here, ready to rock and roll, and let's kick the show.
How have you been, by the way?
Man, it's been so busy and chaotic, not going to lie to you, brother. From therapy sessions and whatnot, car recently, tire blew out on a highway.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been quite a bit.
I'm happy you're here. Oh my
Ubering and all this other stuff. Like, it's not necessarily my cup of tea, but it is what it is. So I'm excited to be here.
So unfortunately, I have much more bad news for you.
Well,
so,
I've been embracing the bad news.
Yeah, here's another one.
Yeah.
So recently, the Department of Education has been cut in half, and now it is from about 4,000 workers down to 2,000. Around 2,000. So there's been a bigger plan to now have more dismantling of it, which is quite frightening because as someone who is in special education, I feel like that would open up the possibility of privatization in special education, which you shouldn't have to monetize education. It should be given to disabled people for free because that's equality. While one can argue for equity, I don't think anyone could argue against equality. As someone who is in special education, who was in special education, I'm quite frightened too because there's already a stigma already of being in special education because you're shamed for it. Oh, you're stupid. You can't do that. And you're kind of in a sense you're segregated. You're literally segregated in
100%.
education classes.
Yeah.
So you're not with
everyone else.
Yeah, you're not in gen ed courses.
General education and stuff with everyone.
And that's quite frightening to me because I feel like there should be integration and not separation.
100%.
Because I believe disabled people are fully capable. Obviously, I think anyone is fully capable of doing education. It just really matters with the accommodations, support systems, which is something that the Department of Education helps to provide as well, to help fund and stuff like that. And it's quite scary, I would say. Literacy in the United States is atrocious as well, considering we have some of the best colleges, universities in the entire world.
100%.
Only about 84% of people, 84% of adults, I believe, have some basic level of literacy.
Yeah.
And I think the average literacy reading level here is 8th grade, which I don't think is not sufficient.
100%.
Because when someone is illiterate, they are basically they're kind of blocked from existing.
100%.
Because in order to to express, you need to communicate. You need to be able to communicate.
Absolutely.
With any form of communication, literacy can be verbal. Literacy actually literally means writing and reading basically. When those two are very, very, very writing and reading, so those two are very, very important to deal with. And actually, because of our illiteracy in the United States, it has costed the United States about $2.2 trillion.
Jeez Christ.
Because of having to having people go on welfare because they can't get a job because they can't read or write. And so I'm quite disappointed with that government decision. I understand there are issues with the Department of Education, and there's issues with special education. Destroying that altogether is not right. Have you? I know you weren't in special education. I know you work in Bangalore You went to like a music school. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I went to Arts High School in Newark, New Jersey, my wonderful home. So I went to a school of performing arts. It was one of the first in the nation. I played trombone, double on baritone and tuba. Did marching band, did jazz band, did all that type of band stuff. And there's a major decline in the arts.
Have you met anyone who was disabled in your classes back then?
Back then, no.
You didn't see any?
To be transparent, it was, 13, 14 years ago?
Yeah, that's okay.
So it's been quite some time, to be honest.
It's okay, yeah. You know, it's not that long ago. It's okay. Yeah, it's like yesterday, okay?
Yeah, pretty much.
14 years ago, 1 day ago, same thing.
Yeah, tomato.
Yeah, but for me, when I was in special education, I was totally separated from my other peers. Yeah. The only reason why I had friends in that because like I would go to lunch, try to hang out with them. Yeah. But then in elementary school, for example, kids are kids are learning learning politeness, respect for other people.
Absolutely.
Which is a crucial time to understand disability, and it would be kind of funny because. I mean, not kind of funny. Actually, it could be kind of sad.
Very
because
sad.
they would kind of pity me.
Yeah.
For example, if I were to play we were playing baseball one time, and they were like being very pity, like, oh my gosh, you did so well. Like, I don't think no one needs that.
Yeah,
no child needs that because I feel like kids can kind of understand. But being patronized
100%.
feels like at that point already.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have an exact solution, I would say, but I would just say I just wanted to address the fact that this is a very crucial move that has been done by our current administration in the United States, and I feel that it will be catastrophic. But I am an optimistic person, I would say. So I do have hope. One thing that's really interesting too that I forgot to mention a little bit earlier is that special education is almost fully funded by federally. The federally funded, which means that if you get rid of the Department of Education, then you're kind of destroying special education. And I want people to know that that's not right. Privatization of special education is going to occur if it happens. I would say it's going to occur. I believe so. I'm not a total expert on education, but I have been in these systems. I understand these systems. I've talked to people in these systems and parents as well, and everyone is scared.
And I do believe, like, for the most part, like, people they have a reason to be fearful.
Yeah.
You know, like, alluding back to your point about the segregation and stuff like that, there was reasons why, like, this Board of Ed was like implemented and stuff to ensure that people had the equality and whatnot, to ensure that everyone's taken care of across the board. So when we go about dismantling it, we're taking away from people who are given the opportunity to sit on the same playing field as everyone else. Yeah. And that is problematic to me because it's not about, you know, oh, well, these people are getting more, these people are getting less. We got to also understand that certain funding's going a certain direction. And that direction can be, you know, cut from the Department of Ed and go to the tax cuts to the top 1%. So
it's not sufficient.
It is not. Like, we're talking about these are programs and organizations and departments that was already underfunded and stuff. Yeah. And they needed major funding. And our answer is to take away from them. That we're literally we're being so regressive right now. You know, taking away so many things that people live for. These are people's lifeline, essentially. Allow people the opportunity to get themselves out of the situation by going to school.
Yeah.
Let's allow people the opportunity to start reading.
Yeah.
Let's lock back into critical thinking and actually give people an opportunity to better themselves. Like this administration comments in the past, we love the dumb people, we love the stupid people, X, Y, and Z. How about we love them by giving them the opportunity to grow from the situation in which they're in? There's millions of people right now are in poverty, from poverty to on their last couple $100 for the month and all this other jazz. Like, people need help and they're not getting it. So it's terrible and it's horrific that he's destroying multiple different agencies, because it's not just, the Department of Education.
Yeah.
It's also affecting the VA. Like, I know we spoke on our last episode about, the 83,000 veterans employees of the VA that's getting cut. They're going after, like, the crisis hotline. So for people who don't know what the crisis hotline is, it's a number that veterans call, when they're tapped out. They're drained, they're exhausted, and they don't want to, like, continue to fight anymore. It's the one outlet and that one beacon of hope when they don't have anything else and they're a second away from, ending it.
Yeah.
They're affecting stuff like that. And I find that extremely problematic, because
very scary. There's a mental health crisis in our country.
There is a
well.
mental health crisis. And the fact that we're constantly deflecting and we're just trying to take away, like, article from the PBS.org, excuse me. I know, crazy. You got me thinking about my childhood.
Wow. Awful.
Yeah. The VA was already struggling with budget cuts and understaffing. So and this is back in 24, before we even had any of those cuts. According to PBS.org, in 2024, the VA said it was working hard to fill 66,000 vacancies. 66,000 vacancies, and that's in 2024.
And has it grown?
And has not grown. But now we're about to take 83,000 away, and the answer is, we're going to take it back to pre-pandemic. Take in consideration, there's people that still fight in uniform that got out after the pandemic. So guess what you now have? You have more veterans that's going to be wanting to seek education benefits, mental health benefits that they rightfully deserve.
Yes.
Healthcare, whatever they need.
Everything.
Exactly. They should be allotted. We signed our name on that dotted line with no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We gave our allegiance to this country, and it should be honored. Our service after service, the things we continue to do, those are things, in my eyes, that we need to continue to amplify and not take away and not shut down. And I'm super passionate about it, if you can't tell. Because... yeah, we fought for this country, regardless of what capacity we did it in, whether you sat in the office, whether you was counting ammunition, fixing tires, or actually on the battlefield doing God's work.
They still need what they
Exactly.
want.
Like, you still should be allotted the opportunity to take care of yourself. I believe this whole notion of just let someone else do it, or let's pass the buck down, someone else to pick up the slack. That is not the answer, especially when it comes to people with disabilities, veterans with disabilities and stuff like that. Like, things are significantly different. We got challenges that we try to overcome, whether it's mentally or whether it's physically. And yes, we may need a little bit of help in that process to ensure that we're level-headed and we're on an equal playing field as everyone else. But should that make us look, seem, feel any different? Absolutely not. So this is the stuff that I care about, because at the end of the day, there's veterans that take their life daily. And 16.7 veterans commit suicide per day. That's pretty high. So what can we do instead of taking away these resources, i.e. the suicide hotline, the crisis hotline, and stuff that?
There's no reason to get rid of it. I don't understand any logic to get rid of it. Funding?
100%.
Like, there's too much funding. Well, fund it. There's people's lives on the line.
Exactly.
And if you cut out funding more than your own veterans, you don't deserve
Exactly.
to be peaceful.
Because I feel as though, like, in particular for, like, the veterans community, like, we're looked at as pawns. You know, pawns in this big game for other people who some haven't even put on a uniform to do any of the jobs. So they don't even, in my opinion, have a right to speak on veterans affairs, period. If you haven't put on a uniform and understand the things that we've been through, whether you was a cook, you know, in the military, or you was a supply guy, you know, our dynamic is different. And instead of, you know, taking away from that dynamic, how about you try to seek to understand the dynamic? How about you ask questions instead of taking a chainsaw to the government? You know, try to understand what it is, because whether you understand or grasp the concept or not, the United States government is not a social media site. And you can't just gut it just because, you know, because you feel as though it'd be more efficient. You know, it doesn't make any sense, because if you pull up the statistical data behind it, it is not equating out. Because, again, the wealthiest ones in this country are going to be the ones that's going to take the most advantage of it.
Well, the good thing is that there's still some form of law, you know, that's still in existence.
That's being eroded away.
Well, the Department of Ed can't be erased just yet, because there does need to be approval by Congress. Yeah. Which actually, if you look at that, there's some people in that who really do not like our current administration. Yeah. So it's gonna be heavily debated. And hopefully the side that wants it, you know, to be active still 100%. Wins. Yeah. But, you know, anything can happen at this point. So I'm just like, this is kind of just like trying to predict, kind of process what's happening. You know.
And it can be a lot to process, you know? Yeah. Like, man, like, again, like, I have this experience from the veterans community, not only because I'm a veteran, but I go, you know, I link up with different organizations where we talk about veteran legislation, where we talk about what's going on in our community. You know, like yesterday I was on a podcast, Veterans Forum, and it's on YouTube and whatnot, and it was about 8 or 9 different veteran organizations that I was able to sit in, and we all had our forum, you know, where we talked about things that we can do, you know, to better our community as a whole.
What was your biggest point? I mean, it was the highlights of that.
Yeah, so for me, my biggest thing is connecting veterans who, especially like if you're just recently getting out, you're transitioning, and man, it could be scary, you know, because like I said, I did a little over 8 years, 8.5, whatever it was. Man, I was fortunate because I already was working, you know, so by the time I was getting out of the Marine Corps, I already was a manager at 24 Hour Fitness. Wow. So I literally didn't have the same transitional issues everyone else had until probably like 3 years after the fact, where I started really like missing the camaraderie, the brotherhood and stuff like that, because it is a dynamic, and it's an interesting dynamic because it's almost like a trauma bond, you know, it's almost like a trauma bond because we all go through some wild things, you know, and we all can sit and we can share those stories of back then when we thought it was terrible and all that other stuff, and we can laugh and joke about it now. And that's what I was missing, you know? So for me to get reconnected into that community, it was heaven sent.
So being part of the VA, Centaur here has helped you with that, with like camaraderie?
100%. So our Veterans Resource Center here has been like fantastic. Lanisha McDowell, marvelous. She's our director. She can assist with anything. The work studies there, they're amazing. Definitely, like, if you have any questions, comments, concerns about your benefits or anything like that, please go in, check with them. They'll definitely get you taken care of. And yeah, if you got further questions about that, like if you need assistance with claims or anything like that, I can absolutely assist with finding someone to work with you to get that stuff taken care of. So, yeah, man, I genuinely enjoy what I do because I've lost people, I lost friends, lost family, and all that other stuff. So I believe that I'm almost like an auxiliary of them, and I want to make sure I'm promoting the best forms of them. You know, so by helping my fellow man, woman, whatever, you know, that's my obligation in life, you know, to make sure I'm assisting tomorrow's generation to become better than my generation. Because that's honestly what it's about. You know, something that the Marine Corps taught me is that you always want to leave something cleaner than what you found it. You know, so by me being able to assist tomorrow's generation, I know that the world will be in a better place than what it is now.
Yeah.
So that's my goal.
Well, it has been a very, very dark, like month and a half so far.
Yeah.
So do you have anything that could, light, needs to bring some light to
100%.
the world?
So in a world full of darkness, like, you truly got to find that one beacon of hope, and you got to really, like, allow yourself to gravitate towards it.
Yeah.
You know, because to your point, it's dark. This
Yes.
world is dark, and it gets better depending on the direction in which things are going. But at the same time, this world's a dark place,
Yeah.
and we need to, in order for us to really shine that light, we need to bond together. We need to galvanize together. Like, I don't care if you, whatever you are, you know, like you're a brother in my eyes. You know, you are someone that I want to make sure that you achieve the greatest that you can possibly be, because that's what it means to truly love thy neighbor. You know, you want to make sure that you're not internalizing yourself, because and trust me, I've done it. You have so many different resources around you by just being out and about. Talk to people. Enjoy the finer things in life, and it could be the simplest things. Like, for me, my pastime is chilling with my dogs. You know, I love my little...
What's a dog?
3 dogs.
Oh,
so I have my Frenchie, my French bulldog. His name is Gunnery Sergeant French. I have my Maltese. He's my old man. He's turning 9 this year, and I have my little Chihuahua. He's 2. So that's my little family. They're awesome. And like I said, you just got to find that one thing, or it can be multiple things, and gravitate towards it. You know, because we can't let the demons, like, take over. You know, we can't. We battle our demons. You know, we battle all that stuff inside. There's no need to let it all bleed out.
My current support system. I mean, I have a support. My family's very supportive for everything I do. And then now that I'm at CSCOB, I battle friendships that are very, very beneficial to me.
Yeah.
I have friends that I can complain to, joke with, go to places with.
Yeah.
And that's what I find. For me, I feel like being social.
Yeah.
Is my way of finding that light. And that light is my friends, my family, and also for me, for my own personal hobbies, I just love to be busy. Like, I have no time to be. I have no time to be sad. I'm like, crying 5 minutes. Go work on this or something like that. So I feel that those like my support system's really, really good.
Absolutely.
And I'm very grateful, because there's a lot of people who do not have that.
Most
so
definitely.
So I feel very privileged.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. And one of the last things I want to leave folks with is, to your point, Jason, being social. And I understand we got our introverts and extroverts and all that other stuff. I understand, but it's good, to find those people who you can truly lean on, to have those conversations with and stuff like that. It's truly, like, refreshing. And don't forget, like, it's okay to have emotions. Yeah. It makes you human, and it's what makes you who you are. So, hell, if you gotta, like, cry or something like that, or, shed your tears, it's A-okay. Yeah. Like, to your point, you let it out. And sometimes it even feels good after the fact. Yeah. Like, you feel as if a weight was lifted off your chest. So it's okay to show emotion. And in my eyes, that's where real humanity, like, shines bright. When you're able to recognize your emotions and truly, like, embrace them.
Yeah. because your emotions are not separate from yourself.
100%.
So the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like personality, emotions go hand in hand, obviously.
Most definitely.
So this is gonna be a little shorter than usual.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna go to an event today.
Awesome. Which event you got?
It's called, I forgot. It's like a autism related event.
Very nice.
It's on campus today. It's like kind of right now, but yeah, I'm very very excited for it because it's more about like understanding autism for students.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. I'll definitely talk about it next episode.
Man, we'll love to hear it.
Yeah. So, anyways, you know where to find us.
Come check us out.
Shougai.podcast on our Instagram, and we also have the Shougai.podcast on YouTube, and you can find Shadic at
you can find me on Instagram Andersonian_the_great. I'm pretty active on there. I like to have a good time.
Well, so anyways, goodbye everyone.
Alrighty, guys.